Now for adding the drawer pulls, I normally measure and mark the center, so that's 2.5 by 1.5. So I mark the center of the box with a slight pencil mark. 10 3/4 is 5 there. And 2 3/4 there. So I've got a little dot for my center mark. And then I try and find the center of this. So I'm going to use the center little diamond as my center point. And I'm just going to set them on to see if I like that location. And then if not, I will move them up a little bit or move them around. But I've got my center piece. So I'm finding the drawer pull has to go up a little bit higher. So I know the center is there along those little lines. So let's just move it up right about there. So we got our center, and we're just going to move it up to about there. And I will measure from this mark, so it's about 2 centimeters to the top of the paper. So that's where I'm going to put that one. And then you want to make, you've already measured the center, so that you know that the center is in underneath there. And then you just make a little mark where the 2 holes are for the drawer pull. About 2 centimeters to the top of the paper. Yeah, so that's about right. So we're going to make a little whole circle there, a little circle there, and then this one, the center piece is right about there. I like that location. And I'm noticing that this has a little bend in it, so let's just straighten that out. That's better. Okay, and then I'm just going to take my awl, and I'm going to take the drawer pulls off, and I'm literally just going to put my awl on that little dot that I've made right in the center, and I'm putting my finger underneath, and I'm just pushing. You don't want to push down, so you want to hold it up in the air because you don't want to cave your drawer in, and you just want to twist it gently until it comes through the other side. And there we go, it's come through. So I've got my fingers sprayed out like that on either side of the hole. And you want to put the awl right in the center of that dot, and you just want to twist, twist, twist. Oh, there it comes. And there we go, we've got our holes. So I'm going to do that with these 2 as well. Push through, there we go. And that one. That one. And then let me just move these 2 out of the way for a moment so I have a little bit more room. And I'm going to do the same thing with these 2 here for this drawer. Okay, here's 1. And 2. There we go. So next I'm going to get my brads. I have these brads here. I think these ones will work. They're a little short, but we'll try them. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is just get some of the Fabri-Tac glue, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on any of the flat surfaces, like where the 2 little hole plates are. I'm just going to add a little bit of Fabri-Tac glue, just rubbing it gently, not putting gobs and gobs on, just so it'll hold it in place while I place the brads in. So I'm going to eyeball that. There we go. Get that up there. Push that down, and then I'm just going to put my brads in. And see if these ones are long enough. If not, I will use the longer ones. They might not be long enough. I have some longer ones here. Let's try those. Okay, so put this guy in, this guy in. Let me just move these ones out of the way. So then you just set it down, and you're going to push the two little legs open and then roll your awl across the legs to open them up, and then I just use the end of my awl and push that nice and flat like that. Let's do this side. Use the awl to spread the little legs open. Roll it out to the sides, and then I just take the end of my awl and push on those legs and flatten them out like that, and one more like that. Nice and flat. Okay, then I'm going to take a little piece of the masking tape and just take a little piece of each of the masking tape, and I'm going to put them over top of the legs to kind of hold the legs in place, and when I put the paper on later it won't show through as much and it stops from ripping the paper. So we've got two little pieces of masking tape in there. We've got our legs and our drawer front on, and then we're just going to slide that into our drawer, and there you go. There's one of our drawers done. So I'm going to do one more of these. Put a little bit of glue along the edge. And again, I'm just wiping the tip of the glue on. I'm not really squirting a lot of glue out because it'll ooze out under the handle. Oops. And we're going to line up our holes like that. Pop our brads in. Oops, it stuck to my thumb. Like that. And then we're going to lay it down, and we're going to pop those little legs open. And on this side, like that. And then I just take my end of my awl and push them nice and flat. Like that. And there you go. And we'll just put a little bit of masking tape on there. And this is going to get covered up with that music paper that I have set aside. So there is that drawer. And we'll just work on this last one here. And now, once this is glued on, we can go ahead and start working on our either covering the sides of the box or putting the music paper on the inside of the drawers. And I think I will do the inside of the drawers next, just so you can see what that looks like. Okay, so let me just put away all my little brads here. These ones might be a little too short. I'm waiting for some more in the mail. These are harder to see. There we go. Turn around. All right, and then we're just going to push those little legs down. Those are tiny little weeny legs. All right, and there we go. Our legs are pushed down, open, and we push them down with our bottom of our awl, and we add our masking tape. There we go. We now have our drawer fronts done, and the whole box is covered. And next we will work on the insides with music paper. Now for the inside of the box, now that we have our drawer pulls on the front and we've taped our little legs for our brads, I have this vintage music paper. It's very thin, but I'm going to use that to line. I can't use it for anything else. It's just way too thin. So I'm going to line the insides of my box with the paper. So all you're going to do is, because the paper runs this way, I'm going to measure the inside of my box up the back. So that's about 3 inches. Then this way, which is about 7 1/4 inches, and then another 3 inches. So I want those 3 pieces to be cut out of 3 inches, the 7 inches, and the 3 inches. So when I look in my box, I will have that full page kind of going up and down through the inside of the box, and then I will cut the 2 side pieces. So all I do is measure the width of my box, and I take off 1/8 of an inch. So this is 4 7/8, so I'll make it 4 3/4. And then this one is 7 1/4, so I'll make it 7 1/8. So I'll cut the bottom piece off, and that will go into the bottom. And again, you don't want it to touch the sides. You want to show some of that packing paper around the edges like that. And then I will take some other pieces and I will set them up on the top edge like this. So it'll be like that. And then I've got another piece, whoops, that one fell over, that will go along the front like that. So the inside of your box will be totally covered. Now I've gone ahead and done the larger drawer. So there's the inside of my box. I've covered it with paper. So there's the top of the book music page, and it's gone down. There's the middle of the music page, and there's the bottom of the music page, and then I've just taken some scraps from another page. So that's just the inside of my drawer, and this is where I'll be putting all my cutouts or whatever in here. So I'm not too worried about it being perfect in here, and it does not have to be right to the edges, because you want to make sure you glue down those edges so they don't get caught on anything. So the large drawer is done, and then I'm going to start working on putting this one together. So those are my 2, and then I have 2 side pieces that will just go on the side like that. So I've gone ahead and you just measure it all out. Let me just pop this guy out. So that's going to be my inside of my drawer like that. And you do that for both of them. And then I'm going to distress the edges of these. So I'm going to turn the camera off because I'm not going to make you sit through me distressing all the edges of my pages. So I'll distress the edges of the pages, and then I'll come back and I'll glue the paper to the insides of the drawers. And then the last thing we have to do is cover the outsides of the drawers with some more paper, whatever kind of paper you like. And I'm going to use more of that scrapbooking paper, not this one particularly, but from that same pad, and I will just cover the sides and the bottom of the box, and we'll be finishing up our drawers. So I'll be right back. Let me just distress these edges. Okay, so I've distressed the edges of the paper, and now I'm just going to glue the pages into the box. So we'll add some glue to this paper, and again, this paper is very, very thin. So I have to be a little careful I don't rip the pages. And then I'm just going to glue this in to the back of my box like that. Smooth the paper down. I'm going to glue the base piece in. Get right to those edges, and you don't want to leave any dry spots. You can have little pieces, but don't leave a great big huge dry spot in the middle or the paper will buckle. So you just want to make sure you get up and down and get lots of glue. Oops. My end of my glue bottle is sticky, so it sticks to my paper every now and then and pulls. Okay, so let's get this bottom piece in. And I'm just going to curl the edges a bit and get it placed where I want it, and then drop it in. Get my edges in there and smooth it all out. Let's put our other end piece in. Now this is the piece that's going over top of our brads. So you really want to put a lot of glue right in the middle where those brads are so that they will cover that piece of tape. right. And make sure I got it upside right. I don't think there's any, oh, there's some numbers on it. Okay, so this is going to go in here. And we'll set this piece in. There. And I'm just going to rub along the edges of the paper. And make sure you push down right where those little brads are to cover it up. Okay, now let's just add our two side pieces. And then I will show you the other three drawers. Let's get this guy in. Turn out the side, and we're just going to pop that guy in there. That's good. Give it a good rub along the edges. And then our last piece. Now you can use tea stain paper, you can use book pages, you can use some digital papers that you've printed and you have some extra digital papers printed that you didn't want to use for something. You can even use recycled paper if you've printed something on your printer and you really don't, you know, you've thrown it into your recycle bin. This is great kind of stuff to line the insides of your drawers with, because you're the only person that's going to see them when you go into your drawer to get something out of the drawer. So you can use whatever you like on the inside of the box. You don't even have to cover the inside of the box. If you want to just leave them plain, you can do that as well. Okay, so there is the inside of the box all covered up. And I'm going to place it into my drawer. I've also done the other one. So I've got my paper inside and this one as well. So now the last thing I have to do is just cover the outsides of the box with paper and the bottom. And again, I'm going to grab that vintage paper pad that I had, Vintage Memories, and I'm just going to select maybe one or two pages. They also have this musical paper, or they have some ads. I haven't decided. I might do these ads because I really wouldn't use these on anything else. The perfume bottles maybe, but these are just men's sweaters and stuff. So I think I'll use these for the outsides of my boxes, or on the other side is just some writing. So maybe even that might go on the outside of the boxes. So I'm going to take those two pieces out. And I believe there's one or two extra pieces in there if I need them. But we're going to see if I can get away with just using two. I know I'm probably going to need for the bases, I may need one more piece. So let me just see, there's a men's sweater ad there. So I'll take three just to be on the safe side. And I'll move these guys out of the way. And what I normally do is I will start with how big of a side I need. And it's pretty much the same as the music paper because you're doing the outside. So this is 2.5 by 7 1/4. So all I'm going to do is cut this paper in a whole bunch of 2.5-inch strips. So maybe 3 2.5-inch strips. So I'll be able to cover the back and the two sides. And then I will take one piece and cover the bottom. This will take the biggest piece from this. So I'm going to go ahead and start cutting the paper, and the same with the bottoms of these. These will be the same. These will be not 2.5, these will be 2 7/8, and then the same, the 7 1/4. Again, and I'll cut a couple of strips in that 2 7/8, maybe 2 of them to do the sides, and then the piece for the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and start trimming those up on my cutter, and I'll come back and show you my pieces. Okay, so I've gone ahead and cut all my pieces, and I did mostly cutting the strips to the height of the sides, and then I cut my major big piece off the bottom portion of the page. I did end up using all 3 pieces of the scrapbooking paper, and I distressed all the edges of the cardstock. And now I'm just adding the Fabri-Tac glue and putting the paper on the bottom of the drawer. So this is the bottom. And again, please use whatever you have. That's why I liked recycling the cereal box. It was a nice sturdy box and I hated to see it go into the recycle bin. So I had all the scrapbooking paper that, again, I'm trying to use up. I'm trying to use whatever I have on hand. I had the packing tape. I had mistakenly ordered the packing tape. I thought I had ordered something else. So I had 3 rolls of the packing tape, and I've just been using it in a couple of other projects. So this is a great way to use it up. I haven't even gone through that 1 roll making this particular project. If your paper is patterned side, make sure your pattern is the right side up. And we're just going to glue that piece on. Make sure your edges are glued down nice and tight. Like that. We'll flip it this way and we'll put our back piece on. So yeah, I'm just using up whatever, and the chipboard is actually from the binder, so I'm recycling and reusing and just trying to use up stuff that I have. You can use, now this is a little long, so I'm going to pull that off real quick. You can use, like I say, book pages, vintage book pages, or there's all kinds of different things that you can use to cover the box. You can collage it by just putting a whole bunch of different pieces of paper all over the outside of the box. Whatever you have that you want to just use up and recycle. Like I say, these are just drawers that are going to sit on my bookshelf. So I'm a big believer in using up what you have and trying not to go out and buy a whole bunch of new stuff. Right, and there's our last one, and we'll make sure we're putting the pattern side up. There we go. We're going to push down our edges, put my glue lid on. So there is the drawer with the paper on the front and your drawer pull. I'm just pushing on those edges. The inside is that vintage music paper that I got at a swap. And the outsides are just more of that scrapbooking paper that I had in that pad. And I'm just going to slide that drawer in there. So there is my little drawer box. There's the front. And my drawers are now all covered with the paper. And I've got my large drawer on the bottom with the paper. And there we go. There's my set of drawers made from a recycled cereal box. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. If you have any comments, please leave them below, or you can email me. My email is in the beginning of the video. And I'd love to see some photos, so post some on Instagram and hashtag Darlene's Creative Studio. I really like to see what you create. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.